In late 2021, Eric Barone, aka ConcernedApe, aka the creator of Stardew Valley, announced his upcoming game, Haunted Chocolatier. In the years since, we've got bits and pieces about what exactly this game will have to offer. But before the first announcement was ever made, ConcernedApe was not exactly close-lipped about his development on his next game. While he did not outright say he was working on Haunted Chocolatier, he did leave us a few breadcrumbs throughout the years. If we look towards his social media, we can see as early as 2016, the same year Stardew Valley was published, Eric was talking about his next game. He specifically says, "I already have my next 2 games more or less planned out in my head, but I'm keeping the specifics secret for now. I will probably stick to in-depth 2D sprite games for the foreseeable future. The same universe is possible." One person mentions ConcernedApe discussed his potential projects at a con, and ConcernedApe himself replied and said that he had been toying/working on an idea that turned out to be too ambitious in the end. So he decided to pivot and focus on a solo project instead. And as we've come to know, he did just that. In the same year as Haunted Chocolatier's announcement, someone asked if ConcernedApe was going to work on another gaming project, to which he replied, "I'm working on it every day. The Stardew Valley Cup, a Stardew Valley event held and hosted by a YouTuber, Unsurpassable Z, is not taking up any of my time. It's just a lighthearted event for fun." He expands further in the same thread to say, "So I'm actually working on 2 games. The first one that will come out, I am doing completely solo again. The other one, I am working on with my team, which is actually just one other guy right now." The solo game he's referencing here is clearly Haunted Chocolatier, and his official announcement was a mere months away from this. As for the other game in question, I did originally think he was referencing his board game, but by this time it had already been announced earlier in 2021, so we can just kind of guess at what that was. With that, on October 21st, 2021, ConcernedApe made an official announcement of naming Haunted Chocolatier as his next game in development. Alongside the announcement came both a new website and trailer. Before we dive too deep into the announcement and trailer, we're gonna focus our attention on the FAQ section. The first question here asks probably the most important question of all: what is ConcernedApe's Haunted Chocolatier? ConcernedApe's Haunted Chocolatier is an RPG/simulation game currently in development. In this game, you will play as a chocolatier living in a haunted castle. In order to thrive in your new role, you will have to gather rare ingredients, make delicious chocolates, and sell them in a chocolate shop. There's a lot more to the game than that, but it's still in early development, so I don't want to go too deep into it right now. The next question was, who is making this game? He answers that he will be the only one developing the game, but if it ever releases to another console, he might contract some of that work out. He also points out he'll be self-publishing, and I do think he mentions this intentionally, as a lot of people still think Chucklefish has a hand in Stardew Valley and vice versa. Then comes probably the second most sought after question and answer: when does it come out? I cannot commit to a release date yet. It's still relatively early in development, and I want to be able to work in peace without the pressure of a release date or even an estimated release date. While I'm sure we're all eager to own another game created by ConcernedApe, it is understandable that the development would not have a clear release date from the start, as he does actively still work on Stardew. Speaking of Stardew, the next question is, does it take place in the world of Stardew Valley? I'm not ready to reveal anything like that just yet. While no connection is confirmed yet from this FAQ section, we can still be hopeful. But it is important to remember that Haunted Chocolatier is its own game, separate from Stardew, and should be treated as such, which ConcernedApe actually kind of touches on in the next question. Is the gameplay similar to Stardew Valley? In some ways, yes. but in many ways, no. Like Stardew Valley, Haunted Chocolatier is another town game where you move to a new town and try your hand at a new way of living. You'll get to know the townspeople, achieve your goals, and make progress in many ways. All of that is similar to Stardew Valley. However, the core gameplay and theming are quite a bit different. Haunted Chocolatier is more of an action RPG compared to Stardew Valley, and instead of a farm being the focal point of your endeavors, it's a chocolate shop. To follow up this question, the next one asks, how long has it been in development? I started working on this game a little over 1 year ago, in 2020. Since then, I've been working on it mostly in evenings and on the weekends, because I'm still actively working on Stardew Valley related things. It's actually not the first or only new project I've been working on, but it's the one that I believe I will finish first. While Haunted Chocolatier might not be the only one of the games he's mentioned earlier in his social media posts, we can clearly see he has been working on it for a decent amount of time before his first announcement. To conclude the rest of the questions before we get to that said announcement, there are no plans for multiplayer at the moment. It will 100% be released on PC for sure. It will be in English, and the code is written in C# in a completely new engine from Stardew Valley. As I mentioned earlier, not only did ConcernedApe drop the announcement, he also dropped a trailer. The trailer goes through some screen recordings of some of the gameplay we can expect from Haunted Chocolatier, delightful music and all. From the few minutes of gameplay, it's evident that while the graphics are similar to Stardew Valley, which honestly is no surprise given ConcernedApe himself not only codes the game, but makes the artwork and music himself, but even from these couple of minutes, it is evident the game will also be quite different. There's no farming to be seen, no Joja either. Eric himself is not silent on this in the first announcement. He says that Stardew focuses more on that humble beginnings of starting a new farm, while he wants to tap more into the magical side in his new game, as he directly says, chocolate represents that which is delightful. The haunted castle represents the allure of the unknown. The ghosts represent the imprint of the past. All of these things are important. However, don't think for a moment that because this game features ghosts in a haunted castle, it is an evil or negative game. On the contrary, I intend for this game to be positive, uplifting, and life-affirming. However, if Stardew Valley mostly channeled the energy of the sun, Haunted Chocolatier channels the energy of the moon. Both are vital. In regards to the game's direction, he said, but at its core, the gameplay loop involves gathering ingredients, making chocolate, and running a chocolate shop. Of course, there's a lot more to the game than that, but I don't want to get too deep into it at this early stage, partly because I don't want to be tied down to any particular concept of what the game is. However, despite this clear direction, ConcernedApe does mention that he's going to let inspiration guide him through the development process. He's creating this game for fun. If you don't know, Stardew was heavily inspired by the Harvest Moon franchise. ConcernedApe was such a fan, he even partook in role-playing groups in Minecraft. So while Stardew Valley is a creation all of his own, he mentions, I felt somewhat constrained because I was working within an established tradition. I don't regret that at all, but there's always been a part of me that wanted to go unleashed. And so he plans to do just that with Haunted Chocolatier. He wants to go unleashed, so to speak. In this process, he says he has been mostly working on the meat and potatoes of the game so far, but what really brings a game to life is the spice, the sauce. And I haven't really gotten to the sauce yet. That's coming. And then he concludes this first announcement with a dose of reality. While the trailer might make the game look close to release, he still has a lot of work ahead of him, especially since we know he's simultaneously working on Stardew Valley as well, as we have seen this firsthand with the 1.6 update that came just a couple months ago, which was quite large and at the current time of this recording is still in the process of being ported to consoles and mobile devices. Just a mere 9 days later, ConcernedApe posted another update on October 30th, 2021. He starts off his new post by saying that there will be no update schedule, and that he will update us when things feel right. For this update, he focuses on combat mainly, unlike Stardew Valley, which has a large focus on farming with elements of combat sprinkled in. Haunted Chocolatier will be more centered on combat. Going with this theme of difference from Stardew, he even mentions that the combat will differ from Stardew because he's going to code it all from scratch. As he says, you can rest assured that I'm not copying and pasting Stardew's combat. On the contrary, almost everything in Haunted Chocolatier, including the combat, is completely coded and drawn from scratch. And then we get this short clip where we can clearly see the use of shields. Shields will allow the player to stun the enemy, which will allow for greater variety in combat playstyles. As he says, you may have noticed this from the earlier video footage, but there are shields in the game. Many attacks can be blocked with a shield, and in most cases, blocking an attack causes the enemy to become stunned. While an enemy is stunned, you can attack them much faster, as seen above. The shield/stun mechanic rewards more cautious, patient players who wait for a window of opportunity. But you don't have to play like this. You can just as well charge in aggressively, and if you can pull it off, you'll defeat enemies more quickly that way. There will be other offhand items besides shields that will complement different playstyles. He goes on to mention that everything he's shown us so far is subject to change, as he even did so during the development of Stardew Valley, as can be seen by early gameplay clips of Stardew, or even in his early blogs posted on the Stardew Valley website. If you compare the trailer to the clip released in this announcement, you'll notice that the sword swing animation looks different than it did in the original footage. That's because I'm still working on everything, and it's all a work in progress. He concludes his second announcement by stating he likes to keep his cards close to his chest, and that he will like to keep a lot of features of the game a secret so fans can experience the joy of discovering it all for themselves, which I think is quite evident by the way Stardew was programmed. Try to get perfection without consulting the wiki. I dare you. With that, ConcernedApe says he won't rest or release this game until I am personally satisfied it's very fun and compelling in every aspect. If it never gets there, I'll just never release it. But don't worry, I have 100% faith that I'll get it there. Everything is on the right track so far. I have the complete vision for the game in my head, and it's just a matter of grinding it out, which is what I'm doing every day. With his attention focused on development, the next and final blog post we got was almost 2 months later on Christmas 2021. Here, Eric updates us. He's been working on that meat and potatoes of the game that he mentioned in his earlier post, and he reiterates that he likes working in secret. But despite that, he wanted to reassure us that he was still working on the game, giving us these 2 screenshots. And with that post, it concludes all the official announcements we have on Haunted Chocolatier, but we can take a look at one other aspect of the website, the screenshots. They give us a bit of an insight into the game, showing off that it does seem like there are quite a few areas built in some capacity, along with the combat and Chocolatier business being developed. However, any deeper insights would just be speculation, since he has mentioned several times everything is subject to change. However, if you thought that was where the updates ended, you'd be wrong. Instead of continuing to update the blog, ConcernedApe took to Twitter to share his updates. Not long after the Christmas announcement, ConcernedApe tweeted, "Happy New Year to all. I hope you all have a very positive 2022. Here's a couple of small images from Haunted Chocolatier. There will be plenty more to come this new year." Attached are 2 screenshots. One of the screenshots is of a building in the game and one of a bus. Then, after a wait of 8 months, ConcernedApe shared these screenshots of his progress, noting that he updated the perspective based on feedback. Under this tweet, ConcernedApe goes on to answer a few Haunted Chocolatier questions. There won't be anything directly analogous to the CC, but there will be elements that fulfill a similar major role, one of them being the big old castle that you are living in. He says the game won't cost more than the price of Stardew Valley, which is $15 on Steam. It has been and seems like it will always be that price, which is kind of impressive given the state of our economy. He also confirms he'll be making all the music / soundtrack, and then he touches more on the aspect of whether or not it will be in the same universe as Stardew. It's gonna be its own separate game with a self-contained identity. It's not a Stardew 2, but there will be some shared lore. I haven't nailed down exactly to what degree the two will be connected, which is a little bit of a different response than what was on the FAQ. He then goes on to address his timeline, saying, "Progress is pretty good, but it does take a long time to make a game, and I'm making this completely from scratch, except the very rare reuse of something from Stardew, if it makes sense. Still just in the middle of the long grind." In regards to any other projects he was working on at the time, he said, "Mostly this, but I also still spend some of my time on Stardew Valley stuff, no other projects." Which is interesting because earlier in 2021, he mentioned working on a game with another person, so could it possibly have been the board game after all? And then finally, he does stress the point that this game will be different from Stardew. It will be similar to Stardew in some ways, but it's not running a farm, and I think you'll find that it feels quite different. A couple weeks later, we got this B-Boss screenshot along with this banger of a song. Honestly, I know this game is going to be a hit just for this song alone. Under this tweet, he was once again asked about his progress, in which he said, "No idea what percent it's at, and no, there's no detailed plan. I have a vision in my head, a few random text files with loose ideas, and then I've just been making a game as I go." Along the same lines, someone asked if he thinks he'll be able to develop this game faster, to which he responded, "I think I could make it faster, but I don't think I am making it faster. Also, though I have more experience, I also have more ambition with the scope of the game, in some ways." Someone then asks if the ghost will interact with the townspeople, and he said, "Mostly separate. It's your own secret world." On Halloween, we were gifted with this glorious GIF. Here, someone asked about the possibility of a mobile release, and ConcernedApe said, "It's within the realm of possibilities, but I'd say it's very unlikely," which, given that he did contract out the porting work for Stardew Valley and the 1.5 update took quite a long time to reach mobile, I'm not surprised he's not so eager to release this game to mobile as well. With that, the GIF was the last update for 2022, and in March 2023, he shared this picture of assorted chocolates, Haunted. 1 month later, he announced that he will be taking a break from Haunted Chocolatier in order to focus on Stardew Valley 1.6. Once 1.6 is finished, which was quite smaller in scope at the time of this tweet, he picked Haunted Chocolatier back up again. Under this tweet, ConcernedApe shared a fun tidbit with us. The town is on the water, and there are docks. He also responded to someone saying, "I appreciate that. All I ask for is patience. I don't want any pressure." In the meantime, he posted the following screenshot in September of 2023, where he does respond, "I am working on the 1.6 update right now, but just wanted to share a HC screenshot. I'm sitting on a lot of screenshots that I could share, just felt like it." He also confirms the sentiment that he likes to work in secret. Even though he was focused on Stardew, he kept the development hidden. And there's plenty more that I haven't revealed. I just like to work in secret mainly. Again, in October, he shares more screenshots to celebrate 1 million followers. He shares these screenshots. And with that, we have bled both the Haunted Chocolatier website and ConcernedApe's social media dry for all the information about this upcoming game. However, in June of 2024, ConcernedApe did an article where he does mention the game. He says, "If Stardew Valley channeled the energy of the sun, Haunted Chocolatier will channel the energy of the moon," which he did mention on his website, but he goes further. "I don't have that much experience selling stuff in a brick and mortar shop, but there might be some higher level stuff like managing people," he says. "In this new game, players will hire friendly ghosts to staff their chocolate store, and there might be some interesting managerial issues or conflicts that arise within employees, Baroni teases, adding that players might also find themselves in competition with other chocolate makers, including a Goliath-sized mega corporation. The scale of the Stardew Valley update means that Haunted Chocolatier has gone more than a year without any major progress being made, but according to Baroni, that's what the money's for. I kind of follow my whims, but then I end up getting involved in something and I have to see it through to completion. He says, if I spend a year working on the Stardew Valley update, that's a year I'm not working on Haunted Chocolatier. That's just the way it is. Baroni is still hard at work getting Stardew Update 1.6 ready for release on consoles like the Switch and Xbox, but I really just want to get in my cave and focus on Haunted Chocolatier without any distractions, he says. I feel like I'm always working hard towards that, and then things come up and I have to see them through. But I'm always dreaming of like, oh man, someday I'll be able to get back in my cave and just develop. Since, like it was mentioned in the article, we're still waiting on the release of 1.6 to console and mobile, I think it will be a decent amount of time before we have Haunted Chocolatier in our hands. But we can't deny the passion Concerned Ape has for game development, and if he puts even a fraction of the effort he put in Stardew into Haunted Chocolatier, then I know the game will be a smashing success, even if we have to wait a few more years. With that, thank you so much for watching. If you're interested in similar videos in the future, make sure to subscribe. Bye!